Welcome to the Geeks Attic. This is a book review of Star Wars: The High Republic, Light of the Jedi. Star Wars: The High Republic, Light of the Jedi was written by Charles Soule. He's no stranger to the Star Wars universe. He's written many of the Star Wars comics. Now, this is his first Star Wars novel. This novel kicks off the brand new era in the Star Wars canon, going back 200 years before the events of the Skywalker Saga. Now let's go ahead and dive into a spoiler-free summary. The galaxy is peaceful. War is just a thing of the past. The Republic is strong. The Chancellor, Lina So, coins the phrase, "We are all the Republic." But peace is tested when an unforeseen event that stems from a hyperspace lane branching out to the Outer Rim brings destruction and death on a massive scale. Tensions rise throughout as hyperspace lanes are closed off throughout the galaxy. The Chancellor calls upon the Republic Defense Coalition, or the RDC, and the Jedi to investigate what exactly happened in hyperspace. What has the ability to cause such planet-wide devastation? The Republic was to open up a new outpost station called Starlight Beacon. It was to be a Republic embassy, to serve as a fortress, security, medical facility, and even host the largest Jedi outpost outside of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. The Chancellor would really like the RDC and the Jedi to resolve the mystery that caused such chaos before they actually do a grand opening of the Starlight Beacon. So, a deadline has been set. A large group of killers, kidnappers, and raiders called the Nile have unintentionally put the spotlight on the regional shenanigans in the Outer Rim. This organization has a very unique hierarchy, with 3 individuals that rule, and one that has the ability to provide secret pathways of hyperspace lanes, or uncharted spaceways to sneak around throughout the Outer Rim. Now, the Nile wear masks to appear intimidating and to remain anonymous. The tactics are harsh and very cruel, but the group must figure out a way to evolve into something a little different, something more vile, more disturbing, in order to survive. Wild events will test the Jedi, the Republic, and even the Nile in the High Republic era. Will the Jedi retain their peace and tranquility? Will the Republic stand strong? Will the Nile overpower all that is good and conquer the galaxy? Well, I'm going to have to just go ahead and say that you're going to need to pick up this book and read it to find out the answer to those questions. Let's go ahead and talk about characters. There are so many wonderful characters that I could pick from to talk about. Avar Kriss, Tiami, Bell, Lorna Dee, and even Chancellor So. But I will only pick 3 characters that I found the most fascinating. So up first is Elzar Mann. He's a Jedi Knight who sees the Force as a deep sea. Its depths are endless, and Elzar doesn't approach the Force the same way twice. He experiments with the Force, diving into the sea of its expansive presence differently each time. Now, many of the Jedi are content with the way the Force works and the way they can manipulate it. Elzar constantly wants to test its limits. He believes so much more can be tapped into that no one else has ever thought possible. Elzar doesn't intend to be difficult, but he's just open to new ideas and how to call on the Force. He believes that his views have actually held him back from achieving the title Jedi Master. Now we're going to move on to Marchion Ro. He is the Eye of the Nile, the keeper of the paths in which the Nile used to creep across the galaxy. He's not quite the leader of the organization, but without him, the Nile really wouldn't be anything special. They wouldn't be able to use any of the secret pathways. They just go on the same hyperspace lanes as everyone else. Now, Marchion Ro, he has his secrets. Some that would most certainly bring about an untimely death had the high-ranked officials in the Nile, called Tempest Runners, found out this secret. Marchion Ro's past is also shrouded in mystery. Actually, there's so much more that could be said about this character, but in order to keep this spoiler-free, we're going to move on to the next character. And the last character we're going to talk about is Porter Engle. He's once known as the Blade of Bordota. He's an Akrukai who's served in the Jedi Order for over 300 years. Now, he's held many positions in the Jedi Order, but now, in his old age, he likes to cook in a small outpost on the planet Ifrona. He's wise, skilled, and cocky. He's ready and willing to give his spirit over to the Force when his time is up. And now we're going to move into my overall thoughts. Now, I really did enjoy this book. I thought it was a good story to tell to kick off the new era in Star Wars. Charles Soule does an excellent job writing new characters, planets, and planting a few little secret Easter eggs throughout this novel that I really enjoyed. Okay, Star Wars: The High Republic, Light of the Jedi expands the Force and the universe in the most impressive and unpredictable ways. The villains, they're complex and very interesting to read about. There are many layers to some of these characters on both the hero side and the villain side. Now, I love that there are established characters in this book that are not invincible. Many aspects of the story, like character outcomes and plot points, were unpredictable, which is great. But, there were a few things that actually were predictable, but whatever. Still, the character development was extraordinary. I can't wait to read more about the Jedi that we were introduced to in this book and to see what happens with some of these villains later on down the road. Some story elements came across a little cheesy, but overall, it was really good. Now, Charles Soule does a great job with descriptions, dialogue, character development. There are a few minor things that took me out of the Star Wars universe. I know it's probably me being petty, but words like gun and drugs could easily be replaced with blaster and spice. However, Soule had many poetic ways of saying things that I found most impressive. So do I recommend that you pick up Star Wars The High Republic Light of the Jedi? Yes, I most certainly do. A great way to introduce a new era in Star Wars. I'm going to provide a link down in the description box below. So for the rating, I will give this book an A. That's going to do it for this review, but remember, hit that bell and subscribe so you'll be notified when I post more videos. There's definitely going to be a lot more High Republic stuff coming pretty soon. And in January, we're going to have a full chapter-by-chapter overview of Light of the Jedi. So stay tuned for a very spoiler-heavy video coming soon. Have a good one.